Hello, everyone. Welcome to another movie chat. I'm here with Tim Allen
Hello.
today. And Tom could not make this show. And we're going to talk to you. Hopefully, a lot of you out there will have things to discuss. I know Tim has seen some movies this past week. I'd be very disappointed if he ever hadn't, because he always comes up with stuff.
I do my
And
homework.
I don't know if Robin's still here. This was sitting up there for some time, but big hugs right back at you to Robin and James. We're both coughing, Tim and I.
Yeah.
Hello, James. Hello, Mike. Hello, Ramoga. How the hell are you? And Cherry, how are you? And so far, that's the comments that I have. Let's see now. Where do we begin? Well, how about Robert Duvall? I heard Robert Duvall passed on. I didn't know he was still around. I didn't know that. He was 95.
I didn't know he passed on, to be honest. This is the first time hearing about it.
Yeah, and also gone, but not forgotten, Beetle Eddie says that he lost his brother. So sorry to hear that, sir. Okay, and yeah. So anyway, I've watched one movie. I have watched one movie, and I got a few movies. And it's after our last show. I actually ordered a few, and they came pretty quick. I mean, I got them already. So I'll be talking about that because I don't have much else to talk about. So let me do that. I mean, I would like to wait till we get more people here, but we're looking for things to talk about. It's odd because we're looking for things to discuss, right? There's not a lot of people here yet offering stuff that we could bounce off of. And I don't want to, before anybody gets here at the same time, though, I don't want to talk about everything right away. But all right, here's some stuff that I ordered. This arrived unsealed. It's a used copy, and I didn't have any indication this was going to be a used copy. It seems to be okay, by the way. It seems to be fine. It's the much disliked sequel to American Graffiti on Blu-ray called More American Graffiti. Actually, I've begun to really, really like this movie. I mean, not anywhere near as great as the original. It was American Graffiti is one of my all-time favorite films of any genre. And I'm not going to talk about it at length here, but I did order it on Blu-ray and upgrade from a DVD, I hope. Okay, much maligned. Yeah, I have some fun with it. I do have some fun with it now. Hello, Robbie. Okay, now here's a very funny. Mick64 says, one movie, you're retired. What do you do with all your free time? Now, admittedly, today I did nothing but sit at the computer here and just play around for a while. I fell asleep at the computer. It's weird about retirement. It is. But don't forget, it's not just the movies. I've got music. I'm making videos. When I'm not making videos, I'm doing live streams. I'm watching other people's videos. There's a lot of things to do, I really enjoy the American Graffiti sequel. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I've come to take it for what it is instead of what it's not. First of all, it's got great music in it. And there are a few different storylines in here. You got all the characters from American Graffiti, except for the Richard Dreyfuss characters. Kurt, you don't hear about his life. But they actually have different timelines. I'm talking about the movie, right? They told you that the driver, the race driver, John Milner, had died, on New Year's Eve, 64. So you knew what happened to his fate. So they fixed that by having him in this movie, talking about him in earlier 64. Like, it's different time periods. You got John Milner has a story in 64. before he died, obviously. Then you have Ron Howard and his wife, played by Cindy Williams, there, and I think it's 1967, maybe, or 68 even. And then you have the Mackenzie Phillips character along with Debbie Candy Clark, and they're in like 1966. And my favorite section is Toad, Charles Martin Smith, who was sent to Vietnam, they told you at the end of the credits, and he's trying to get out of Vietnam, and he's doing all kinds of things to try to get sent home and all this stuff, and injure himself and all this kind of comical stuff. To me, those scenes are the best with him. And I like the way they have different eras for this, you know. But anyway, I have some fun with it. So that's one. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Robert Duvall. I had no idea he was 95. I had no idea he was still with us, to tell you the truth. I didn't really realize that. Then I picked this up, which is, I'm going to blow it up because it helps to blow it up, right? Dan Curtis, Classic Monsters, TV movies. This is Dracula with Jack Palance. The other cover is the same. It also has The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Jack Palance, TV movie. Also has Frankenstein with Bo Svensson, which I've seen as well. And I think it's just the three movies, am I right? Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And this is great. This is by Kino Cult. You know, my favorite genre, Kino Lorber, Kino Cult. And Blu-ray upgrades, really. So I'm happy with these, you know. So that's that. Now, the final movie that I'm going to show that I picked up and I got in the mail is also the one movie I watched. And yes, it's a movie I've seen before, but I haven't seen it in a very long time. I talked about it on the last show. It's a TV movie again from 1975. It's called Sweet Hostage with Linda Blair and Martin Sheen. And when he captured a girl, he unleashed a woman, from the Warner Archive collection. $10. This is available to watch right now on YouTube for free. You can get off the show and watch it. It's on there. This is one of those made-on-demand videos by Warner Archives. This was come out in 2011, so this is pretty old. But this was a series they did where if you ordered a certain movie, they'd make it, burn it on demand. It's not professionally done, you know, but that's what I have. And I'm going to talk about this movie, Sweet Hostage, just a little tiny bit here. This came out in 2011. The movie was 1975. All right, let me get rid of myself on the large screen. Okay. Basically, Linda Blair plays a 17-year-old tomboy, really, and in a small town. And she's kind of like backwards in a lot of her ways and rough and everything like that. And Martin Sheen plays an escaped mental patient who winds up picking her up when she's hitchhiking. And they go to a cabin that nobody knows where it is, and it's isolated. And the idea is that, you know, he's not really hurting her or doing anything objectionable or violating her in any way. But his whole thing is that, you know, he's into poetry and he's into using your mind to escape this stuff, and makes a lady out of her. You know, it's kind of like My Fair Lady a little bit, and they fall in love. Surprise, surprise. I really liked this movie when I saw it on TV in 1975. I was 13. I mean, I was too young really for this stuff, this subject, but I knew it was a good movie. I think Linda Blair is great in this movie. I think it's one of her best performances that I've ever seen her do. And Martin Sheen is very good in it too. I think that's what makes the two of them together. They've got perfect symmetry in the movie, and that word figures into the movie, symmetry, which I think is great. So I really recommend this, you know. And, you know, it's funny because my girlfriend, she loves romantic movies. And I thought I'll have her see if she wants to watch this with me. She said yes, she'll watch it. So he watches with me. It's got everything you like: romance, dancing, lovey-dovey, all this kind of stuff. When it's over, she goes what she always says 99% of the time. It was okay. It was all right. I won't spoil the ending, but the ending didn't do any favors for her. Let's put it that way. You can almost these days, yeah, talk about a movie like this. I'm thinking people can almost write the script. They kind of almost know what's going on. Well, that's what I'm. That's some of those early Warner archive titles were pressed. You can tell by looking at it. Yeah, this is definitely burned. It's got the purple kind of background. Looks like a DVD-R. Yeah, it's burned. This one. Okay, Jim, what's up? I hope you're well. Started to make movie content on my new channel. Thanks for the encouragement. I'm glad to hear it because there's no such thing as a bad boy. You know, every time I see your name, I think of Rachel. I can't help it. But anyway, no, I'm glad. No, I shouldn't even say that. That's her line. I'm just doing an imitation. So, anyway, okay, that's good. I'll check that out and see what's on there because I think that's a good move. And yeah, I know I've seen the new channel. So, does Tim prefer to talk about music or film?
Both. You know, I mean, when I went back to college, I went for film, but you know, I love music. I love film. They're pretty much equal, really. I'm not good at talking about either of them. I'll admit that, but I like talking about both of them.
Got a great week ahead. Man on the Run Thursday, Epic Friday. Yeah, okay. I'm going to see Man on the Run. I have tickets to see Man on the Run, Paul McCartney, at a theater on Thursday. And then the Elvis Presley in concert, which is epic. I think Friday is. I'm not going to be able to make it. Let's put it that way. Unless I go at night, but I think that's it's just coming out for one day in IMAX, and then later on it's more general. If that's the case, Terry, let me know when the general, because I do want to see it. Let me know when the general showing is, whatever they call it. Started watching the Invaders TV series, Roddy McDowell, last week's quality of film is good. I like the fashions, the cars, mini skirts, and the rock music. I've never seen a complete episode. I've seen it on TV. I mean, they have it on one of the late night, maybe Sunday nights, like here, like 2 and 3 in the morning or something. So, she's an entertainer, and her persona is what it is. I think she's capable of being sincere. Yes, I got you. All right, so now Tim. Tim is the one that's watched, as usual, more things than I did. So why don't you tell us what you watched and if you got anything too? That's okay.
I got one thing, and I'll just talk about it when I get to it because I watched it. So I want to start out with
I'm waiting for this.
Which is not a good movie under any, in my opinion, under any circumstances, and I'm going to call it Godzilla vs. Kong. Just
well, wait a minute. Godzilla vs. Kong, yeah. It's a little. People may know I made a video where I complain because I always say VS is really short for versus, but everybody calls that.
Joe's absolutely right. I just want to do that. It's
Godzilla versus Kong.
It's not Godzilla versus Kong. Yes, but not. I haven't seen the. This is like part 2 apparently of Godzilla, but it's just what. Why can't Americans make a Godzilla movie? I don't understand.
Yeah, anyway. There you go. Well, I still haven't seen that, Tim. I actually picked that up very cheap. I keep saying I'll try it one day, but I just hate the American Godzilla.
It's not unwatchable or anything. It's just so predictable, and it's American movies. People know things that there's no way they could possibly know. It's that sort of thing. All of this, it's a lot of what's the word Hitchcock used? A lot of MacGuffin kind of stuff, and it's just like it it doesn't matter. Nothing in it
Tim,
matters.
don't see Godzilla versus Kong, the new Empire or whatever, something Empire. I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
I went out of my mind. I did a review on that. It'll make your hair turn black.
just not, just a typical modern movie. That's why I don't like modern movies right there.
Yeah.
And then I watched this, and this is a film I've seen many, many times, and I like it more every single time. In fact, I watched it 3 times because there's 2 commentaries. Rewatched Apollo 13. First time on Blu-ray I've seen it. Just such a good movie. I don't know why they can't make movies like this anymore.
I've seen it.
If for people that haven't seen it, it's very tense if you've never seen it before. And even though if you know the story, you know what's going to happen, but it's still very tense and still, it's a great movie. And everybody's good in it. Tom Hanks, of course, is good in it.
Is that Ron Howard?
Yeah, Ron Howard made this. Gary Sinise is in it. I can't think of his name, but and the woman that plays Tom Hanks's wife, I just fell in love with her. But I do every time I watch the movie. I can never remember her name.
You better know her name. If you fall in love with her, you better know her name.
No, I can never remember her name. But it's just such a good movie, and I don't know why they can't make movies like this anymore, because this is brilliant.
Well, if Tom was here, he'd tell you they do. Hold on a minute. I want to just say hello to 4D Man. He says, I've not been to a cinema since I was last in the USA 12 years ago. Now, and he adds, what can I tell you? Somebody asked why. And he says, what can I tell you? I'm a recluse. Now, what I'm going to do also, if I may, I'm going to put a link out here because we talked about Rachel's show before. And recently I was on the show with 4D Man, and we had a good time talking films. And I said, look, I'm going to throw him out a link. No, I always say no pressure. If you don't want to come up or can't come up, not an issue. But I'll put a link here if you want to say hello and come up here and just listen to, maybe have something to comment on, regardless of regarding what we've talked about. Tim's talking about now. Okay, Tim.
Okay. And I watched this just last night, and I don't know what to think of it. It's called The Other Man. It's Liam Neeson, Antonio Banderas, and Laura Linney. So it's got a really good cast, and it's Liam Neeson finds out his wife has been cheating on him for a long time, and he can't get over it, and it sort of consumes him. And maybe it's me, but he just doesn't fit that role. He just doesn't. So he goes and befriends the guy that's been cheating on his wife this whole time, fake befriending him. He doesn't really befriend him. And then there's a big twist towards the end of the film, and my problem with it is it's filmed in it's one of these films that you should have at least a couple times have a tear in your eye, and you don't. It's very cold for some reason.
I had a tear in my eye during Sweet Hostage a number of times.
Yeah, you should in this, and yet you don't. And it's just, I don't know, there's something about the way it's filmed. It's just cold, but it's not bad. If you like these people, and you should. I mean, Laura Linney's fantastic in everything. But so it was okay.
It's a gray 1951. We're gonna let the 4D Man come up here. Hold on a minute.
You can come up too, Mike, if you want.
Yeah, Mike, we'll keep asking him, but I'm the link is there. And here's a 4D Man, hello, making his first appearance here.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers. And if you just join us for a while, we're gonna, this is Tim's gonna go through some of the stuff we watch. If you have any opinions of anything, if you've seen it, let us know.
Okay.
What you think of any of these? All right.
And
But Tim, you are on a quest these days for this year, you want to do the more recent movies. You said, which
those
for
are
those
the three modern movies I watched this week.
Yeah, Tim usually watches. He loves the older, like me. He likes older stuff, and
Okay.
like you too.
So
Yeah.
those are the three modern movies I watched, and I'd forgotten what this was about. I watched this maybe even last year, and I'd forgotten it completely. So I watched it again. It's called Two Lost Worlds, and to me, this is a candidate for the worst movie ever made.
Two Lost Worlds. What is that?
It's horrible. It's James Arness is in it. It takes place in like the late 1800s, I'm guessing, sometime in the 1800s, maybe even earlier. And they wind up on this island with dinosaurs. It's just, most of the movie is just a melodrama about this love triangle, and then all of a sudden they wind up on an island with dinosaurs, which makes it just ridiculous.
Have you got a date on that?
It's 51 maybe.
Okay.
Right around the thing.
Yeah.
From another world.
Yeah, so James Arness must have just gone from one to the other.
Yeah, it's not, but it's not. It's, if you want a ridiculous movie, but it's not a good movie at all.
But ridiculous can be fun sometimes, though, huh?
You better.
Oh no, it's fun. It's fun,
Yeah.
but it's just all of a sudden there's and they're the worst dinosaurs. It's an alligator with like a little thing strapped to its head. It's this terrible dinosaur.
Oh yeah, a 4D.
It's only an hour long. You don't have to spend a lot of time with it.
In the background there, is that a it looks like a Cult of the Cobra poster you have?
Let me just tip that up a bit so you can see a bit better.
Yeah, Cult of the Cobra.
Yeah, that's a Belgian poster of Cult of the Cobra. Back in the day when I used to buy film posters at film fairs, Belgian posters came on the scene incredibly cheap for some reason. So I got quite a few of those.
Oh,
the rest of them are UK quads, or the other ones that you can see.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm reversed, Joe. Can you?
You're not reversed on my end.
Oh, okay, that's good then.
Yeah,
right.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we can see you perfectly straight here. Okay, let's Tim. Before you go, let me just catch up with some comments here. All right, here we go. Wow, I watched Mission to Mars on Christmas. It was diabolical. Ha ha ha. Let's see. Funnily enough, 4D. The last time I went to the cinema was when I visited Dallas last year. I saw Jaws at the infamous Lee Harvey Oswald Theater.
Whoa.
And there's somebody that says 4D man, it's been 20 years for me. 2006 was the last time.
Well, I don't even know.
Now, is anyone besides Kimba excited for the He-Man movie? I'll definitely go see that. And I think there's a special screening of Gone with the Wind. I'm not going to see the He-Man movie.
I've never seen
an episode of He-Man in my life. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm nostalgia all the way, so I never see new movies unless it's very rare directors.
Liam Neeson and Nicolas Cage movie should be swerved.
Okay.
Hello, Steve Rogers. You got a comment here. I cried when Tommy Kirk shot Old Yeller. Well, so they say. I've never seen Old Yeller, but I made mention the other night of the film The Devils. I think 4D would know that. Oliver Reed, Vanessa Redgrave, director Ken Russell. It's a mind-blowing visual madness, religious horror. Check it out.
Yeah, Ken Russell had a weird. Ken Russell had a weird way of filming. I'm not saying he's as good as Kubrick, but he had this weird thing in common with Kubrick. Like Ken Russell could photograph a wardrobe, and he could make it seem animate in some way, like it had a consciousness. And the only other person I know who can do that was Stanley Kubrick. So I don't know what it must be to do with lighting, I guess. But it's a weird thing that you can spot in Ken Russell movies. You can spot it in Lair of the White Worm.
Mm-hmm. 4D man, you got a cigar there?
Oh, I always get asked this. Let me just lift
I
it
know.
up. Can you see? It's incense.
Yes.
It's called dupe incense. That's what's burning.
All right. Well, don't worry. This is. We'll get back to everything. This is good that we have talk in between everything. I couldn't have a decent conversation with 4D yesterday due to unforeseen circumstances. I think I know what they were. Could 4D please show his copy of the Twisted Nerve soundtrack? Is that handy?
Yeah, but let Tim finish what he's going through, and then we can come back to that.
Okay, a good idea. All right, Tim, go ahead.
All right, I watched two more. I watched this movie. To me, gets a lot of negative criticism, and I actually enjoy this movie a lot more than a few of his other later films, and it's Hitchcock's Family Plot.
I saw that in the theater.
And it doesn't deserve it. I think it's a really enjoyable film. It's not his most Hitchcockian film, obviously, but it's still a good film.
I saw it at a revival theater. I don't remember a thing about it, so I don't think I was swayed by it too much.
I like his cameo in that. You know the Hitchcock cameo that he always does in his films.
Yeah,
I like the silhouette cameo behind a door glass. Yeah. And
there's a making of it where it actually shows him being filmed. So, and the old lady he's talking to, and it's interesting.
Right. Yeah. And as opposed to say Torn Curtain, where he didn't get along with Paul Newman or Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
And he had a problem with some actors sometimes, but he really got along really well with Bruce Dern. They had a lot of fun together.
Yeah, no, they would hang out even a little bit, which is, for Hitchcock, you don't, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I love Barbara Harris in this too. She's great. I think she steals the movie.
I haven't seen it for years, Tim, but there's an anecdote that while they're waiting for the shot to be lined up, there's this shutter that they're both looking at, and Bruce Dern said, there should be some graffiti on there, and Hitchcock said, "Fuck MCA," which is what he wanted to be. They didn't do it, of course, because they'd never get it. But he had such problems with MCA, who owned Universal, that the first thing he said was "fuck MCA." So that's like an example. They had good rapport with each other for his last film.
No, they liked each other. Bruce Dern, they talked about the people that he wanted, and Bruce Dern was way out on the list, and he couldn't get his top two, and then he went straight to Bruce Dern. He's like, screw all the other people, I'll just do Bruce Dern.
Right. Well, that was fortunate. I mean, it was nice. He had so many problems, Hitch, toward the end of his life. It's kind of like you do. If you live long enough, you're going to go into decline. So it was nice that at least on his last film, he had a really good relationship with the lead actor. That was nice to see.
Yeah. They tell the story in the in the making of where there's a big car chase where his brakes are out and he's going down this mountain road, and the assistant director is trying to get Hitchcock to actually direct the scene, and he's like, okay, so if I direct the scene, then the actors are in the car, there's a car pulling it, and then where am I? And he's like, oh, you're in the car following on the seat way in the back. And Hitchcock is like, exactly why I'm not going to film that scene. So, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And one more, and I picked this up a couple weeks ago. I watched it last year. I enjoyed it more this time than last year, but The Out of Towners.
We talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jack Lemmon is just God. He creates this whole thing himself, in my opinion. If he was just nicer to people, then most of this wouldn't happen.
I can relate to Jack Lemmon in that movie 150%.
Yeah, but he's taking down names and being nice. And if he was just nice to a couple of people, he wouldn't have gotten into this.
You're not getting away with anything, New York. I got all your names and your addresses.
exactly.
I'm not.
And
I'm,
I love Sandy Dennis too.
I'm not sure I've
great.
seen that, Tim, but it's what you're saying. It sounds like he's playing a Walter Matthau character.
Well, he's playing him. He's playing a Felix Unger character, kind of. You know, I mean,
Okay.
he's that sort of guy, and he's the basic plot is he's going to New York City for a job interview, and they're going to move there if he gets the job, and it should be a shoe-in, but just everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong. And but
Right.
he acerbates everything that happens. He makes it worse. And
I'm not sure I've seen
just
that.
a nonstop romp.
Some people don't like it actually.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
the movie. It's funny as
yeah.
hell.
No, Neil Simon wrote it, but it does
Ah,
feel like, you know, a William Wyler film in a way, except it's slightly more mean spirited than most of the things that William Wyler did. But it's a good little film, and it never stops and it never lets up.
so it's got an edge
And
then. Has it? It's a bit edgy.
It's a
yeah,
comedy.
and I always thought it was early 70s too, and it's like 68, which surprised me.
I think I don't know, whatever. I think 69, but you never know. Look
I
it up.
think it said 68 in the special features. But
Well,
anyway,
it is
that's
what it
it.
is, and what it ain't. All right.
That's
Well, and by the way, like I
that's all.
said, we both getting older, and you did talk about you did talk about that because I use it as a thumbnail. Wait a minute, did you talk about actually watching it or just getting it? I think
I talked about watching it last year. I watched it on like Tubi or something
no, a
last year.
couple of shows ago.
Oh, but I picked it up. I picked it up maybe 6 weeks ago or something. So I did talk about it when I picked it up.
Okay,
But
where's the
I
thumbnail though? On the picture, whatever. It's irrelevant. Right?
But yeah,
I mean,
I
I like Steve Martin, but I would not see. I'm not going to see the Steve Martin one. I don't know. Maybe it's good, but it's a remake. Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn, is it?
Yeah. And I can't picture Steve Martin being quite as curmudgeonly as Jack Lemmon is, and that's important for the film. You know, I don't necessarily like him because of it, but it's important to the film. If he was a nicer guy, like I said, things would have worked out better for him.
Yeah, nobody's likable in this movie. That's great. He has a right to be enraged.
No, his wife is very likable in the movie.
All we got is tonic water and clam juice, but they ain't cold. Anyway, hello Penny Lane, by the way. Hello Penny Lane. Saw a plastic model for the woman in the Hammer flick, the reptile. Oh yeah, the reptile. Sure, that's another Hammer. I like the monster, but it's only on for this final minute of the second of the movie.
Jacqueline Pierce. Jacqueline Pierce. That's the actress.
Jacqueline Pierce.
Yeah.
All right. I know 4D is a fellow Gene Wilder fan. Is he familiar with the film Start the Revolution Without Me?
Yes, that's the one he did with, I think, with Donald Sutherland. And one of the reasons he took it is because Gene Wilder was actually quite an expert fencer. He was very proud of his fencing, and there was quite a bit of fencing duels going on in Start the Revolution Without Me. About 1969, I think that came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it on Blu-ray, but I think I've got it on DVD.
In general, does 4D man prefer English or American cinema?
Wow, that's a good question. Fuck. Give me 5 minutes to think that through, Joe. And I will come back to it.
You can think about it. While you're thinking about it, I'm going to put a little Godzilla clip up here for Ramoga because he loves this clip, and I always have to put it up as Godzilla films. There you go.
I can summarize maybe and think it through. My favorite horror film, like I told Joe the other day, is probably Night of the Demon. And if it wasn't that, it would be Brides of Dracula. So those are two English films. My favorite film of all time is The Ipcress File, which is another English film. So that makes it sound like I'm going the English way. But then again, Joe and I spoke for a long while about universal horror films from the 30s and 40s, and I love them all. I mean, deeply love. Like when you see films when you're a child, you embrace them in a way I think that you do more so than when you're an adult. You know, and they stay with you all your life. So that's the case with all of those. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. I used to have loads of those, Joe. I haven't got any anymore. Yeah. So I love those. Oh my God. Some of my favorite directors of all time are Americans, such as Woody Allen, Jim Jarmusch, sometimes, only sometimes, Martin Scorsese. So maybe if I was to list my favorite film directors, most of them would turn out to be American rather than British. So it sounds like I'm hedging my bets, but I think the truth might be that they're so close together, the different influences, that it would be hard to choose one country over another one for me.
Okay. Are we on England time? 6 hours? Is it 5 hours forward? For 5 hours?
I can tell you the time now. Over here, it's 25 to 11 in the evening.
Oh, it's 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
No, 5.
Wow.
5.
5:30, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, sorry. All right. Let's see now. This was. Do you have that Twisted Nerve handy by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Because Jim wanted to see that.
Okay, so I'm a big collector of. I used to be a big collector of film soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the composers I like is Bernard Herrmann, who did a lot of he did a lot of Hitchcock scores. He did a lot of the Ray Harryhausen movies. He did Citizen Kane. His last film was Taxi Driver. So the fella's been around, Bernard Herrmann. But I didn't have this one. And Spring Heel Jim asked me on 2 separate occasions whether I had it. So that prompted me to go looking for it. And it turns out that there's this special limited edition that you can get. I thought it was a double album. I was wrong about that. It's a single album, but I'll open it out and show you what else you get as well. It cost me 60 quid, this fucking thing, secondhand. But it's a lot of these editions came out from the estate of Bernard Herrmann. So one of the things you get is a signed autograph from his widow, and another thing you get, they also include the CD of it as well, and the CD, as opposed to the vinyl LP that's inside it, has additional cues, music cues in it as well. So those you won't get even if you get the original album from 1968, I think the film came out. Mm-hmm. And another thing they like to do is throw in a 45 RPM. So that's the theme of Twisted Nerve. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, this is going to be really hard to show you, but I'll do my best. Just like with Marnie, the special edition of Marnie by the same people, same label, they throw in a replica film poster. So I'll try and you'll get an idea anyway of what it looks like if I move it along the camera. Can you see any of that, Joe?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
So just like with Marnie, you get that. And the last thing I suppose I should show is the vinyl itself, because it's I keep thinking this must affect the sound when you produce that blood spattered vinyl like that. Doesn't that affect the sound? I can't tell because my system isn't that good. I'm not an audiophile.
No,
what do you think, Tim?
It doesn't, because it's just they take a block of clear and then they throw some other stuff on it on both sides, and then they press it, and when they press it, it just all turns into one thing. It doesn't. So no, it doesn't. The only thing that affects vinyl is really like if they make it glow in the dark or something like that. If they put a powder in it, that can affect the sound quality because of just some property in the glow in the dark.
Okay. Mike is asking, any fans of the movie MASH? I tried rewatching it recently and couldn't get into it at all. The last time I saw it was when it first played in theaters, and I remember loving it. My answer to that is I've never been a fan of the MASH TV series. However, I've seen I've seen a lot of it. Episodes, even though I didn't love it. But the movie, when I watched the movie after all that. And it's hard to get used to the other characters. To me, it's like the Odd Couple movie. If you saw the TV series of the Odd Couple with Tony Randall and Jack Klugman, which I think is superior, Tom is not here. He'll disagree with me. Even though I love Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. I think it's the same scenario for me with the movie of MASH after having seen the characters. I mean, Alan Alda. How do you go from Alan Alda in the TV show to, I think it was Elliot Gould in the movie. I think that was,
yes.
Yeah. And it's hard, and Loretta Swit, and it was, who was in the movie? It was Hot Lips Houlihan. It Kellerman? Sally Kellerman?
Yeah, was it Sally Kellerman?
I think so.
But anyway, one time when I tried the movie MASH one time, I did enjoy it. It's a lot more heavy.
I'm like you, Joe. I like the series better just because I've seen it more. If somehow they could have made the series with those same people, I probably would like that. I mean, it's just we're so used to the series and those people that the movie becomes different.
Yeah, I did like the movie, but I thought it was a little heavier. In addition to the comedy, heavier.
Yeah. Yeah, I often find Robert Altman films hard going, and I never can figure out why it is. All I know is he likes to do long takes, but why that should be hard going, I don't know. So he directed the MASH film, and I was a big fan of Donald Sutherland back in the day, probably ever since Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or maybe earlier, Don't Look Now. That was when I became a big fan of his. But somehow the movie of MASH doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, that happens for a lot of people with that. I took a JPEG picture of the mummy at the camera shop to get printed. The kid who did the developing was curious why I wanted hard copies of a mummy walking. I explained he was a universal monster. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I know how much you love the Hammer films. I can't take the Hammer mummy. I like the old Universal, not the Karloff one. The Karloff film is great, but I like later on when he's walking around slow with Lon Chaney and also Tom Tyler in The Mummy's Hand, which is the movie that got me started. The reason I'm here sitting here is because I watched The Mummy's Hand as a child and The House of Frankenstein. Those two movies. That's why I got into all this.
Okay,
but anyway.
So let's stay with the Hammer Mummy then. We're talking about the 1959.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I'd be really interested. Why didn't it float your boat? Give me a.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's good. I don't think it's bad, but I grew up. I have a strong impression. It's bias for the Mummy was a little more crippled and arthritic and creepy in the Universal movies, whereas you get Christopher Lee's Mummy is I used to call him Robo Mummy. He was walks like this big. Fast thing. Right. It's still a good movie. I just prefer the other.
One of the problems I usually have with mummies is the flashback sequences, and that's the fault of the 1959 Mummy. Is you have that long flashback to the Egyptian times, and we've got to stay there for like 15 fucking minutes before we come forward again. So that frustrates me. Yeah.
Well. Let me before we go on, I wanted to ask you, 4D man, you know your Hammer movies, horror movies, right? Pretty good.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you a clip, and if you could tell me precisely which Hammer movie this little clip is from. I use this frequently when somebody is annoying the hell out of me and I think they're stupid. I don't use it often I don't use it ever on this show. Let's put it that way. I don't need it here. But people know who I'm referring to. Danny, I'm referring to you, my friend. Referring to you. But and here, have you seen this? You haven't seen the clip before when I use it, have you? Let me see. Here it is.
I'm afraid that stupidity always brings out the worst in me.
Stupidity?
Yes, stupidity.
Hand of the Baskervilles, 1957, was it? No, it's 1959.
No, no. I'll give you a hint. No, it's not that. It's a
No.
one of the Frankenstein films.
It's got to be 57 then. It's got to be Curse of Frankenstein.
No, it's one of the later ones.
Oh.
1969. Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed.
Wow, that's
personal
me blown.
favorite.
That's me blown right out of the water. I was fucking years ago. Wow.
Gosford Park by Robert Altman. Agatha Christie style ensemble murder mystery.
All I
Alan
remember.
Bates.
All I remember from that film, Spring Heel Jim, is one of those long takes where, because they're all sat around a long table, he takes that fucking camera right round the table and he doesn't make a cut, and we just go around all the characters in that. And that's why I have a problem with that director. He lays it on thick. If it's somebody like Peter Bogdanovich, he does long takes really well, and so does Orson Welles. They're really interesting. They'll throw stuff in front of the camera, but with Robert Altman, he has a way of moving the camera where the whole fucking scene still seems static to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if there's any Robert Altman fans out there.
You got to hear my story of when I met Peter Bogdanovich once.
Oh, wow. Let's hear it.
And and of course he directed Targets.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff film right now.
Yeah.
In 2006 in Greenwich Village in Manhattan, they had a tribute week to Karloff, all Karloff movies. So I went one day. I was going. They were showing Targets, and I don't remember the situation. If I had I think I'd seen it once, and then I was going to go a second time. It had to be. So I saw it one time, the afternoon show, and I noticed that it was missing a scene, but it wasn't a crucial scene. I don't advocate cutting anything out of a movie, but the print they had was missing. It was a little dialogue scene early on in a restaurant between Karloff and his secretary or assistant. Anyway, so later on, I'm going back for the evening show, and they were going to have Peter Bogdanovich as introducing the movie. So I ran into just me and him in the lobby. That's it. Wow. Nobody else is there yet. And he starts talking to me. I told him how much I love the movie, and he is very nice. And he said, I told him, but I have to tell you, it's a cut version. He was like, "You're kidding? No, it's cut." Oh my God, he's getting all upset about it. And I said, and I tried to relax him by telling him, no. And I wanted him to know I didn't condone cutting anything under any circumstances, but at least I told him the scene that was cut. And he goes, "Oh, so you think it played all right? You think it went well?" And I said, "Oh, perfect. No, if you didn't know, it wouldn't hurt anything in the story." Oh, good. And we talked about that. And it's funny because I don't know. I didn't have anything to get signed. I would have liked to get an autograph or a photo. And these were in the days before we had the phones, just shortly before, because this is 2006. I didn't have a phone, camera phone. But anyway. So I thought that was.
I've bought films before because Peter Bogdanovich was such a film scholar that DVD producers would often recruit him to do the commentary, even if he had nothing to do with the film, because he could talk about films so well. So I've bought films on DVD and Blu-ray before just because Peter Bogdanovich is doing the commentary. I could listen to that guy all day.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard the one from Target, obviously. And it's very, very good.
And do you know, fellas, Peter Bogdanovich had a YouTube account on here. The last 3 years of his life, and I didn't know about. And you could interact with him in the comments because he would put stuff up. And I didn't realize. I only discovered this. It's still up, but I only discovered this after he died. I thought, my God, what a missed opportunity that was.
Wow.
But you can still find it on YouTube.
When I saw certain directors and stuff, he would do impressions of he was doing his commentaries. John Ford was like so good, and a couple others were just so good. He's brilliant.
I mean, if you wanted me to, I could tell an anecdote that he used to love to tell about Alfred Hitchcock. The problem is, I can't do it like he could do it.
Yeah,
because he was a great impersonator, wasn't he? He could really
he was.
Somebody else's voice. and he could do Hitchcock really well. So I mean, the Hitchcock anecdote is that Peter Bogdanovich interviewed him in a hotel room, and after they finished, left the hotel room, they came to the elevator. They go in, there's other people already in the elevator, lift starts going down, and out of the blue, Hitchcock says, "There was blood everywhere." But it had nothing to do with the interview saying, and he said, and they couldn't clean it up because it was evidence. And there's nothing for Peter Bogdanovich to do but just to listen. Everybody's listening. And he says, there was a human skull on the mantelpiece. There was a human torso on the sofa. The lift stops, doors open, a couple get in, so they're standing in front of Hitch and Peter Bogdanovich. There's people behind them, doors closed, going down. And I won't even talk about the blood in the basement. And I won't even tell you what they found in the freezer. And when they questioned the man, do you know what he said? Ground floor, lift open, nobody gets out. So eventually, Hitch and Bogdanovich have to get past the couple that's standing in front, and they walk across the lobby. And finally, Bogdanovich says to him, "What was that all about?" And Hitch said, "Oh, that was just my elevator story."
Elevator story.
But what an illustration of the master of suspense, that nobody would get out of the elevator because they wanted to find out what the man said.
Yeah.
Very
He
interesting.
loved to shock people. There's a couple stories like that told even in his last movie that I was just talking about. You know, how he would love to just shock. Somebody did something, I forget what, on the set, and somebody innocent was sitting next to Hitchcock, and whatever happened to them they thought was terrible, and he said, that is terrible. I would have just had them killed. He's just like,
And
Hitchcock is great.
it's worthwhile getting the books that are anthologies of Peter Bogdanovich's articles, not only because he had access to people like John Ford and Hitchcock and people like that, but he was a really good writer. He had a bit of a quirky voice to him, Peter Bogdanovich, and you can sort of hear that in his prose. So the old books, like one's called Pieces of Film or something like that, so they're well worth buying.
Listen, Tim, did you see the recent stories about today's film studies students who tell their professors that they shouldn't have to watch films made before 2000, and definitely nothing in black and white? You could
It's film school. Why would you want to learn anything in film school? Why would you possibly want to learn? Don't get me going on this. You know, I just think young people think they know everything and they know nothing, and that's one of the problems.
Nothing. Film students not watching anything before 2000? Really?
Yeah, and you wonder why films are in the state they're in. That would be why.
Well, Cherry says the picture I got framed is Lon Chaney in Mummy's Hand. However, and not to be a stickler, but in the Mummy's Hand only, it's Tom Tyler. He was a Western, mostly I think known for Westerns. He was in the Adventures of Captain Marvel serial, and he played the Mummy, and very, very creepily. He's my favorite Mummy. And later in the sequels after that, Lon Chaney was the Mummy.
Lon Chaney is my worst Frankenstein.
Worse than Bela Lugosi even is Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, I think Bela. I know he was a bit stiff, was old Bela, but then again he was blind. He was blind, so that gives him an excuse to be that.
That's why he did that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, worse than Bela.
That's my most wanted footage, as I've said before. Is I wish they'd come out, and they can't find it. Supposedly when they put out Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman in 1986 on a VHS tape, They made a search to find the footage. They couldn't find it. It's probably destroyed, but boy, I would love all the dialogue and explaining the monster's blindness and why he walks around like that and everything in the movie.
Yeah.
But that's my dream. That's number one lost footage. Even I want to see that more than any lost footage, anything.
Look, well, like you, Joe, I think that might be my favorite Universal monster movie is Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
Yeah, it started everything with the monster mash. Monsters teamed up. That was the first monster team up movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Chaney as the monster though. I do. But he's very different from Karloff, obviously.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But Don't Look Now. Now that is a strange, creepy at times film to view. Seek it out.
Yeah, I saw that when it first came out when we were just 13 years of age, and we managed to get into the when it was on a double bill with The Wicker Man.
I don't mean to cover your face here. Not like I saw the original MASH in a theater with my parents when it was first released. My father had been in a MASH unit during the Korean War. I think they were embarrassed by some of the scenes. More 4D man questions. Are you familiar with the actor Eric Portman? He was a firm favorite of Powell and Pressburger and was in several noir gems like Wanted for Murder and Corridor of Mirrors.
Vaguely, Spring Heel Jim, and I should be more familiar because I'm a big fan of Powell and Pressburger. But as I'm reading you, I can't picture the face for some reason. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I'll tell you, this guy, Spring Heel Jim, he's only young, but the amount of knowledge he's got of vintage films is off the charts, man. Right.
I'm telling you, that is true, Jim. I think you found your calling between that, your knowledge of film and also your drumming, of course. But Christopher Lee makes a brief appearance in Corridor.
And that's true. And my crowd, like my gang, when we were like 13, and we used to buy things like back copies of Famous Monsters of Filmland and a UK periodical called Monster Mag and stuff like and World of Horror and stuff like that. We knew that what Spring Heel Jim has just put up on screen. We knew that back then, but the fact that he knows it now, all these years later, that's what amazes me.
Okay, Eric says, I just thought of a Rodney Dangerfield type line. Dracula wouldn't bite me in the neck. He said my blood type wasn't good enough for him, huh? My issue with the Mummy films is the Mummy's always some love-spurned dope looking for a long-dead princess. I'd like a mummy just had an issue with waking up in our era. Yeah.
Muhammad Ali used to do an impression of the Mummy to caricature George Foreman. Do you remember him doing that before he went to Zaire? He used to characterize George Foreman as just taking one step this way, one step that way, like this almost robotic figure that he couldn't move very well, and he would call him the Mummy.
Hello to James Byers. Yes, we talked about Robert Duvall passed away. 95. That's a pretty damn good run.
I remember him as a taxi driver in Bullet when Steve McQueen asked him to do the route that he did for this suspect guy quite early on in the film.
Only the director says cut. A lot of times Rocco will give lines from some of our favorite TV shows, The Odd Couple or Honeymooners or something like that. Me too. For some reason, I feel like coughing. I feel like coughing because of the smoke. Well, we have a cough. We have coughs anyway.
I wish it was, Kimba, but it's not.
Yeah, Peter Bogdanovich put together a couple of books of his interviews with other film directors and actors. All right, let's see. What do you think was Robert Duvall's most memorable? Wow.
Apocalypse.
He has a cameo in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 78 version. He has a cameo as a priest on a swing at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But
funny. How come I can't come down with a Robert Duvall greatest movie? How about
I-
the Great Santini?
I'd say Apocalypse Now. You know, Charlie Don't Surf. That guy.
I can't think of the movie I'm thinking of. It's one of his later films, Falling Down. If you've ever seen Falling Down, to Michael Douglas and Robert Duvall.
Michael Douglas one. I saw that. Was he playing a cop that was going to retire?
Yeah, he's a cop. It was supposed to be his retirement day, but things didn't go so good for his retirement.
And he screwed it up on him.
Yeah.
The Doe Girls, a comedic story about the World War II housing shortage. Godfather fanatic, so Tom Hagen for me. Yeah. I was wondering, 4D, if you've read John Mills' autobiography, Still Memories, etc.
I haven't, Jim. Robert Donat was originally supposed to play Will Mossop before he became ill. No, that's news to me, and I haven't read the John Mills book. But he's talking. The film that Jim is talking about there is a film called Hobson's Choice that Charles Lawton was the lead in 1952 or something, and it was filmed around where I was born in Salford. So I think that's why Jim's sort of bringing that up. Salford is just a place just outside Manchester.
John Q was one of his last. Okay, we're caught up now, so unless anybody makes more comments or you can think of something else to chat about.
I can show you. I can show you. Hang on. Let's see. I don't know whether these will be harder to get in America, I guess. Wayne Kinsey has written a lot on Hammer films. And he has his own publishing company now. So, and these books can be quite expensive, but this one's about the set designs, the production designs on Hammer films.
Yeah.
So
a lot of them are the same, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a real good point. Yeah. And one book can have a different title, but really it's an update of a prior book. That's true. But the production design on this, let's see. So we were talking about Brides of Dracula. So let me see if I can find.
Yeah, that's a fine vampire film, Brides of Dracula.
Okay, this is the 58 Dracula, but it shows what I like about it. The top picture is the sketch, the production design before Bernard Robinson built the set, and then the photograph below is what they made of it, and that's throughout the book. You get a lot of that, the contrast between the drawings and the photographs, so that you can compare. And there are floor plans in here. I mean, it's superbly researched. Let's see if I can find Brides of Dracula. And so you get to see the backlot of Bray, and if you look right at the top of that photograph, you can see that the rest will be matte painted in when they're showing castles. So you get the sort of behind the scenes feel. This particular one is I haven't got many because they're limited editions of I don't know, maybe at the most 500, and if you don't get them there and then, they go up in price where they're just unaffordable. So that's the one I would recommend. It's called Grand Designs, if you can find it.
Well, Tom's not here tonight, but it's more his speed, or even Tim's. But I rewatched Licorice Pizza this weekend. Definitely enjoyed it more the second go round.
I've never seen it. I know I should, but I've never seen it.
You know the scripts we were talking about, Joe, the other day, where if you look at Son of Frankenstein, what's fascinating to me is you do get the monster's lines in the script before Karloff persuaded him to cut them out.
Yeah, he had dialogue in there, but the dialogue, if I recall, was pretty Stone Age.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, it regressed. He was actually more fluent in Bride of Frankenstein. But I think my guess is that the reason that Karloff didn't want to say those words is because a lot of the lines were quite malicious, like he was threatening to kill the kid and things like
I
that.
don't remember that.
Yeah, and Karloff always liked the pathos in the Frankenstein monster, and I don't think he liked the idea of turning him into a serial killer in that way, where he's
right.
So I think maybe that was the. I disagree with Karloff. I think it was a bad idea for Karloff not to have speaking lines in Son of Frankenstein, and it really did make him second fiddle to Bela Lugosi, who stole that film.
Well, thank God. I'm glad. I like both of them the same, but I'm kind of a Lugosi supporter. So I kind of like that Lugosi got his time to shine in that movie. But
yes, I agree with you. It was magnificent.
Still, in Son of Frankenstein, Basil Rathbone and Karloff in the scene with the mirror, you got Karloff able to show some pathos. That's his scene in that scene.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Jamaica Inn. I remember my in-laws, they went on a date. That was the first date they went on, to see Jamaica Inn. And a movie, they said that.
I like that film.
I'd be interested to know if Spring Heel Jim can sort of encapsulate it in a comment in chat. Where did he get this love of vintage films from? Where does it come from?
Yeah. Well, he's very young. What are you, 20, 21 or 22?
Yeah. So he's born in this millennium.
Yeah. They're going to be making your movies now. They're going to be making your movies.
That's the problem. The people that like old films aren't going to be the ones making new films. It's only people that love the CGI stuff that's coming out want to make movies, and that's not good.
Yes, indeed, Eric. And yes, I've seen the film Vampire from 1932. I haven't seen it in ages, but I know I saw it a long time ago.
I once did a long 10,000 word feature article on 1973, just the year 1973. So it looked at American and UK films, but it looked at a little bit of politics. It looked at television. It looked at art. It looked at journalism. It went the whole hog round. That's why it was 10,000 words, because it was loaded with stuff that was happening in 1973.
Yeah, Vampire it's a very stylish looking film. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I don't think I've seen that. Is it 2006 that is, or am I getting it mixed up with a documentary about Vampire?
No, this one from 1932 or 31 or 32.
Oh, Vampire. Okay, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I always say Vampire. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that at all.
Yeah,
I may have a long time ago, but I don't remember if I did.
Yes, question for favorite Australian film. I can't even think of an Australian film.
Yeah, I don't think I have. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't Robert Powell do a horror movie in Australia? The English actor Robert Powell? See if chat gets back to me about that. I've got a feeling that Robert Powell did a cult horror film in Australia, but I can't remember the title.
Okay, there you go. That's how one day after school, my grandma showed me Whistle Down the Road. That's how my love of vintage cinema began.
Good start. Good start. Thanks to Grandma, then.
Sammy Davis Jr. and Jack Klugman were in a film together. What film would that be? Was it one of those detectives, cop films or something? That
I know I know Sammy Davis Jr. came to Bray Studios because he was a big Hammer film fan. This would be about 1964, and he was amazed at how small the place was. The entire studio was so small he couldn't believe it.
Yeah, now that you mention it, Crocodile Dundee. Yeah, that was
There you
Australia.
go.
There's Mad Max, but there's a whole exploitation Australian film industry, and those films are just starting to get worldwide release, like in the last few years, unfortunately. So I've never seen any of them, but there's supposed to be some amazing exploitation kind of films from Australia from the 70s.
I feel like The Sting was like the last throwback to classic Hollywood, even though it was made in the independent era. And it feels to me like the perfect film. That it just feels so. The period detail is so beautiful, and the acting is just, the character acting is so sublime. It really was. I know it was a buddy movie because it was Newman and Redford again.
Yeah,
but I see it as an ensemble piece. All the character actors that were in that.
And also, you have George Roy Hill also directing, who directed them in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid too, the buddy film.
Yeah.
But I love The Sting. Is one of my all-time favorite films. It's in my top 10.
Yeah, I've got the poster in the other room for that. Again, that's another poster I've had since I was 13 years old or 14.
What about 1944's Halfway House?
You're going to have to clue me in because it's not ringing any bells. I'm finding this more and more. My memory is really going south the older I get.
Well, join the club. Instant recall. I'm having trouble more also with instant recall, coming up with it right away. But sometimes I'm better than others. Age of Consent.
That was Michael Powell, wasn't it? Spring Heel Jim that did Age of Consent. He'd split up. I think then with Emmerich Pressburger, and I think he directed Age of Consent on his own. Since Spring Heel Jim is talking about Powell and Pressburger, let me just go into the other room and find a Blu-ray to show you guys. Give me a second.
There you go. It's true, Gary. Another Australian film, Candy, with Heath Ledger.
No.
Eye of the Needle. I've never seen it.
Me neither.
What happened? Wonder if I should get the same room.
I don't know. It got dark.
I'm kind of a little worried for some reason. Thank you, Gary, for asking. She's doing a lot better. She went back to work today. Got to pick her up there after the show. Wait a minute. What is that? I think I better just should I remove this now? I don't know. How do you I want to like just remove it, but not gone altogether. Just if I don't know how to. Okay, good. I'll wait till you come back, just in case. Just watched Executive Suite, William Holden. I think I've seen it about 5 times.
Don't know it. There's so many movies. That's the problem with doing just.
Yeah, I can't see it. I stick with the same ones I know. No, I got to stop that.
Even the biggest film buffs in the world haven't seen 90% of the films ever made. So
you can't.
Yip.
The heck is that? I don't know what that is. Well, we're waiting. Happy's coming back. Hold on. I didn't. You're off the screen. I don't know if you can hear me, but until he gets situated. Okay, you ready? All right.
I'm sorry, fellas. I knocked the camera over, and after all that, I just looked in the other room and I can't find it. So all I'll be able to do is tell you that the film, the Blu-ray is called Bluebeard's Castle, and it was directed by Michael Powell in 19. Oh, I'm going to have to guess. 19. It was well after Peeping Tom, the horror film that he did, that he got eviscerated for by the British critics. But he did this. It was an opera, and he went to Germany to film the opera. It's only an hour and 5 minutes long. The British Film Institute put it out. And if you've ever seen The Red Shoes or Tales of Hoffman, it's got the same visual design because it's the same production designer called Hein Heckroth. So it looks magnificent, even though it's done on the cheap. And if you're not a fan of opera, and I'm not, it still looks beautifully cinematic. So just for the visuals, it's worth seeing if you can get it. And it's called Bluebeard's Castle.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere in the other room, but I can't find it. This is the problem. The problem I've got being a bachelor and a hoarder. There's no woman to tell me to tidy up the place. So there's fucking stuff everywhere. I'm tripping up over stuff like I just did all the time. Well,
actually, I have a girlfriend I live with who's like me with collecting stuff. So she's not going to. We tell each other we both got to start cleaning it up, you know.
Right.
I'm alone too.
Greed. Cecil B. DeMille. Greed.
Doesn't ring any
Greed
bells.
isn't Cecil B. DeMille. Greed is what's his name? I'm trying to think of his name. It's not Cecil B. DeMille anyway.
Anybody?
Yeah,
hopefully you watch the original and not the remake. The original,
the Frank Sinatra film.
Yeah.
Oh, and who? Can you remind me of the director of? Is it Frankenheimer?
I think it is Frankenheimer. Yeah, I think it is.
Right, and the weird thing is that when Robert Kennedy went to do his speech, having won the California primary, the guy who took him to deliver his speech was John Frankenheimer. He stayed with John Frankenheimer for a couple of days, and then John Frankenheimer took him to where he would make the acceptance speech, and Frankenheimer was the guy who was going to come back to pick him up. So that's a real weird resonance from the Manchurian Candidate.
If you could only do one, would you watch a movie or play music? Well, to me, it depends on your mood, doesn't it? I mean, I think that to me, a movie requires a lot more effort to me and a lot more mind power and, concentration. Whereas, not so much music.
I go ahead, Tim.
I think these days I'd watch a movie.
I had a weird shift in habits in the last few years. Before the last few years, it would be easy to answer films, always films. But now that I got a turntable again for the first time in decades, just last year, I'm listening to music more and more. And as a result, there's a stack of Blu-ray and box sets, including, for instance, let's see if I can find it. Well, see us. Oh, here you go. There's a stack of Blu-ray and box sets which have been waiting to be seen, like this one, and I still haven't got round to them. And that would never happen like a few years ago. I'd be watching these as soon as they arrived.
Let's say Cushing Curiosities.
Yeah, that's a box set, and the films that are inside are those. If you can read them, those are the films. Some of them
Yeah,
are
I can
quite.
read some of them.
Yeah,
How
some of
about
them.
Bloodsuckers? What the heck movie is that?
That was a 1970 film. It's got an alternative title,
Oh, that's why maybe.
which I can't remember, and it's kind of like it's almost a vampire film. You've probably seen it under a different title, Joe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know what movie with Peter Cushing I saw the first time years ago now, but it's one of those rare times where I tried out something I hadn't seen, and it was Cash on Demand, which I thought was pretty
yeah,
good.
the bank robbery one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
still
I've
haven't
seen that recently.
I've had this special edition for ages, and I still haven't seen it. They're just stacked up, waiting to be seen because my mind's turned to records now that I've got a turntable.
I've been watching the Conjuring films. Do you think jump scares are a cheap thrill or a legitimate piece of storytelling? I'm going to jump the gun. I'm going to jump the gun. I'm going to jump the gun, and I'm going to say I'm inclined to say it's a cheap thrill. However, if it's done well, some great jump scares work in some films if it's done right. Sometimes it can be more artistic.
I like that question a lot because you could say it's a gimmick, kind of, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
really, now it is. By now it is.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like the first one, when they started calling it a bus scene was because of it cat people.
Yeah.
With the bus coming into view with the air brakes going, I mean, I think that was quite brilliant because there's nothing really going on at that point. All it is a bus going up.
Right. That's what I mean. There's an example of a jump scare that's creative and artistic, and it works. Also, there's another one because I love the Val Lewton horror films, and there's another one in The Body Snatcher, not to be confused with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, with Karloff and Lugosi are in the Body Snatcher, and there's just a scene with a horse. It's not a well-known scene or something where it's a creepy night and somebody's going to visit Boris Karloff, and it's very moody, and then the horse just see the horse make an appearance his head and scare him. It makes whatever they call what a horse does, a whinny.
If you keep that comment up, Joe, just the question part, you see where it says, do you think jump scares are a cheap thrill or a legitimate piece of storytelling? I'm going off on a tangent now, but back when I started to take courses in my 30s to catch up with lost time and get qualified in stuff, one of the things I learned is if you're sat in an examination room and you get faced with a question like that, the answer is always to resolve the terms of the question. So the key terms in there would be jump scares, and then the alternatives, cheap thrill. So we were talking about gimmicks, so that would come under that, and then legitimate piece of storytelling. So you would start to say things like, well, you could still tell the story without the jump scare. It doesn't actually advance the story.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So you would resolve the answer to a question like that by taking the key terms of it and just dissecting them in your essay answer. I learned that trick from Bertrand Russell, actually, from Bertrand Russell's books, and I can't tell you what a godsend that is every time I went into an examination room, because I dreaded those examinations, where the clock's ticking away and you've got like 3 hours.
Okay, there you go. Greed is silent, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm still trying to think of who made it. The Von Stroheim made Greed. Eric von Stroheim. Now I remembered it.
That was well recalled.
Started out as an 8.5-hour film. That didn't play too well, so they cut severely.
Oh yeah, and that's right. That's an early portmanteau film. Like the Amicus films, where you get like 4 stories in one film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Halfway House is like that. It's like Dead of Night. In fact, I think it was made the year before Dead of Night. You know, the one with the ventriloquist dummy in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that.
There you go. You have a
maybe. I haven't got it, but maybe John Dankworth's score for The Servant in 1963. Maybe. Oh no, no! I take that back. The score for Accident, the Dirk Bogarde film from 1967, and I think that was John Dankworth as well, and I haven't got that either.
I have not seen every epic, but we all know that Ben-Hur 1959 is my not my favorite film. It's one of my favorite films, but I think it's the best film ever made that I've seen. I haven't seen every film ever made, but I think that has it all. You know, everything: storytelling, acting, music score, direct. It's like everything is perfect with that movie. To me.
Is that your favorite film of all time, Joe?
No, I don't. It's one of my favorite films of all time. It wouldn't be, but the favorite. But I think it's the best movie technically ever made that I've seen up to now in my life.
Yeah, I think that would be my favorite epic. Yeah,
I need epic defined.
Okay.
Because when I think of an epic, other people might not think of an epic.
Val Guest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I must have seen that. I must have seen it. I just don't recall.
Yeah, Val Guest. It was made in '61, I think. It was black and white, and Val Guest had this style that he might have got from Howard Hawks, where you would have overlapping dialogue. So and he went for realism a lot. So, and that was sort of based in a newspaper office in London, but it was science fiction, but it had a touch of black and white realism to it as well. It's a great film, Dave the Earth.
The Quatermass Experiment is another one that I love that I grew up with, and
well. That's another one that I bought and I still haven't got around to seeing.
There it is.
I've got them all. I've got them all piled up here, and I don't know what it is. You know, in the old days, I would have devoured that as soon as it arrived, and this arrived about 2 months ago, and I still haven't got around to seeing it yet.
And you know the title that I grew up with it as one of my earliest movies, The Creeping Unknown.
Oh right,
that's what it was called in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this jump scare. Well, that's actually tells a story. The jump scare in Jaws with the head. It's like what happened to the guy. You know, when you see his head come out of the boat, that's what happened to him. well,
now he said that makes me think about something that you don't get anymore in home entertainment. I went to Jaws when it first came out, and I sat in the circle. And there were 3 jump scares. So when the jump scare happens and you're with a community audience, not only do you jump, you see hundreds of heads going up and down at the same time. So what that does is it unites you in a communal experience, and then there's always a little flurry of laughter afterwards, where people are self-conscious that they've just shown how scared they were for a second, and it's very bonding that to an audience. And I don't think directors have that in mind anymore. Alfred Hitchcock had it in mind. Every film, he was always thinking about how a cinema audience collectively would receive the scenes that he was seeing in his head. And Jaws is a great example of how 3 jump scares really, I could see it. I saw it with my own eyes. It really united.
So did I. I mean, I was 13 when Jaws came out, and
I
saw it numerous times. And what you said is what I always say. Ideally, there's nothing like seeing a movie in a theater with an appreciative, receptive audience.
Yeah.
Where everybody laughs at the same time, jumps, and then laughs afterwards. And you said, you don't know if they're still thinking of that anymore with the audience. I don't think the audience is like that anymore. I think back then we were a lot less desensitized then too.
I don't
Yes.
think they're making films for theaters anymore. I think they're making
that's another
films
thing.
at home and watch
Yeah.
alone.
One thing I noticed when I went to the USA, I first went to the USA in 1985. Americans are much more extrovert compared to British culture. So British people, maybe less so now, but in my day, were quite inhibited. So if we went to go and see a film, you wouldn't be able to guess whether we liked the film or not usually. So it was very unusual. It took somebody like Spielberg to make us jump in order to jump out of our skins and be a bit more extrovert in our appreciation of the film. But as soon as I went to America and I saw how American audiences behaved, sometimes it was like Americans are watching live theater because their responses compared to Britain's are so out there. So it's a big difference. Yeah.
I remember when The Exorcist came out. When The Exorcist first came out, I was too young to go in, but they brought it back to the theater when I turned 17. And for whatever reason, I don't know, back then I had a little cassette recorder, audio cassette recorder, and I brought it in the theater to record the audio. I don't have it anymore, but I used to play it back. And again, I remember that movie when I saw it in the theater. This was like 1979 by this time. I think it was back. Anyway, you would hear those horrific screams or reactions or shock, or a lot of gasping more than anything, like with the crucifix scene.
Oh yeah.
You would hear the whole audience go like that as one. This day they've seen all kinds of things. They wouldn't even do that anymore. And then it'd always be, as you said, after this thing was over, there was laughter, giggling, like because they had gotten so scared. There was a release.
I have to tell you, at 14 years of age, that was the only horror film where I can't remember what the scene was, but temporarily I had to avert my gaze from the fucking screen. I was so freaked out by something or other that it scared me that much. But so when I've just said about the 3 jump scares in Jaws. So when you two guys saw Jaws, did you jump at all 3 moments as well?
Oh yeah. Well, one of them was the shark, when they first see the shark rise out of the water.
Yeah.
Then there was the head in the boat. Well, right. The head was first, actually. But I'm trying to think what the third one was. Why can't I picture the third one?
Oh, let me think. Oh, I know what it was. Hang on. I think I might want to take this back afterwards, but I think it was where Richard Dreyfuss is in the water in the cage with his spear gun ready, and we can't see through, but then suddenly
the shark comes over.
Yeah, I think that
hangs in the cage. Yeah, you're right. That's great. Yeah, great stuff, really. And I don't know whether to blame the fact that times have moved on or not. I don't know, because back then people were they were still sensitive to things. They weren't used to seeing it all.
People are immune to it now.
I think
talk about a jump scare. I want to talk about a jump scare really quick that to me is just terrifying, and it's done. It's talk about a creative jump scare. It's in Signs.
Oh yeah,
on Signs when you're watching they're watching a TV, they're watching the news on TV, and they're showing this clip from this little girl's birthday party, and the alien just walks by, and you're watching it. You're watching it on a movie screen onto a TV, and you're still jump a mile. It's like that's a creative use of a jump scare. That's shocking that you can go whoa when it's that you're that far removed from it. That was brilliant.
I still have that image in my head. For some reason, I saw Signs once on TV, on DVD or something, and I remember I see this image in my mind. And the only thing I remember is this alien walking by at some point.
Yeah. It's on a TV that you're seeing on a screen, and that's brilliant.
You reminded me of Exorcist 3 is one of the most scary, shocking way it's filmed. Jump moments in it. Anybody who's seen Exorcist 3, which I heartily recommend. Forget about Exorcist 2. Exorcist 2 must be seen for you to realize how bad a movie can be, in my opinion. What a great train wreck. But 3 is very good, I think. It took a while to grow on me. When I saw it in the theater, I didn't love it. But then subsequent viewings at home, I love Exorcist 3. Now it's got a good reputation. Exorcist 3 follows after the first one very nicely. You could skip 2 and just go from the original. And there's this real scary hallway scene in the hospital. You can't even describe it if you haven't seen it. But everybody knows what I'm talking about. With that.
Talking about jump scares, Thing from Another World had one of those where they're looking for the creature down the aisles and opening doors to see whether he's here. And they open one door, and he's right. He's right. No, he's right there. They open a door, and the fucking creature's right there.
You just see him standing.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, here we go. Eric says, 4D, good to have you here. Hope you can be a regular guest.
Cheers, Eric. Thank you.
So many things to trying to get every comment. I can't get it all of them.
Well, that's interesting. I'll have to think about that one.
I missed the Freaks comment. I want to get that one. The movie Freaks, Todd Browning from 1932. That movie, it's another movie. I'm sure in 1932 that would have freaked you out. A lot more than now.
That's another movie with a ton of lost footage that I would love to see found, and that might be my number one, actually, because there's so much of that movie that they caught that I would love to see.
I mean, I do like the movie. I do like the movie. For a scary kind of movie and everything. But these days I think it's more of an exposition thing. Like it's like, look at this, look at this guy. He's got no arms. Oh, look at this character. He's, the Siamese twins, whatever, conjoined twins, whatever it was. It's almost like, look at this, look at that. Not so much the story, although there is a story.
Well, to me, it is a story because the freaks were actually the good guys. The freaks were the most normal people in the film compared to everybody else.
Well, as I was saying, I said that there is a story.
Yeah.
But a lot of exposition.
Can you guys remember your first times when you went to a cinema to see a film?
I have early memories, but I can't for sure say which is my very first.
Yeah, me too. It's vague with me.
There's 3 for me, and it's because of different genres. One is the drive-in. So, I was real young then. Well, not real young, 6 or 7 probably. And the first one I remember seeing was, I believe it was the first, or maybe it wasn't. But I saw one of the Planet of the Apes at a drive-in. I remember that. Okay. And I remember going to see the second Love Bug movie. That's the first movie I ever saw by myself.
I saw the Love Bug
by ourselves.
At the drive-in. Tim and I are the same age. I saw the Love Bug at the drive-in theater. It's one of the movies I remember seeing.
I think I saw the first one maybe at a drive-in.
So is that late 60s? Would that be?
68.
That would probably be about 70 for the second one. 70 or 71. The second one. The first quote-unquote adult movie, and I didn't want to go. I had to be dragged. I have a twin brother, and we both basically had to be dragged and shoved into the theater. We didn't want to go, and it was Jaws.
Oh, wow.
And that's the first adult movie I ever saw is Jaws, which, I don't know if that's the best place to start, especially when I'm not a horror fan. I don't like violence. So, the jump scares, I probably wasn't looking at the screen for any of the jump scares.
Right. Okay.
I got to speed this up because I hate to say it's the only bad thing about this. When I do the show at this time, I often don't have that much time to go on it. But because I got to pick my girlfriend up. But let me just see what I can. I probably just put some. some comments up.
Haven't seen that one.
Yeah, we talked about Ron Grainer with the Omega Man soundtrack.
Yeah, yes.
And in a lot of ways, that's my favorite movie of all time. It's hard, I got weird movies that are my favorites. That's one of them, because when I saw it at the cinema theater when I was 9, I have certain memories like that.
Yeah, I saw that film 4 times in 1 week at the cinema. The Omega Man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
No, Maz always takes the mickey out of me and says, the first time I shared a live stream with Maz about 3 years ago, he said, "Do you ever get out of that chair?" And what was in his mind was Alistair Cook used to do these broadcasts sitting in an armchair. Like, he was never anywhere else. He never stood up. He was just giving this delivery. So the Alistair Cook thing comes from Maz.
This is also a very good jump scare. That is a great jump scare with the old lady like that.
That scared me bad when I saw that when I was a boy on the television.
That was only on television, and it was scary.
Yeah. And it's the way her body was kind of like that, with the clawed hands as well. And she didn't seem to be walking; she seemed to be gliding right. Woof.
Yeah, good stuff.
It's really, if we come out even half sane after some of these mind fucks, because that's what's behind a lot of these jump scares, we're doing all right.
Thanks, Kimba. Glad you had fun with it.
Thanks, Kimba.
Yeah, I got to get ready to go, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Herbie Rides Again was the other one.
That's the second.
I saw this before, Eric. I think it's the second time you put it up. Ronnie Dangerfield. I don't want to say it, but I must be ugly. I can't do the voice tonight. I must be ugly. The mummy took one look at me and went back into his tomb.
Anyway. But my favorite line, maybe I can close on this. My favorite line from Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, because Lon Chaney is so earnest when he plays Lawrence Talbot. He's haunted all the time. And he says, "You don't understand. When the moon is full, I turn into a wolf." And then is it Bud Abbott who says, "You and 20 million other guys"?
Lou Costello.
And Lon Chaney just goes for it, making a joke out of his haunt, and I just find that hilarious.
Now these days, if only young viewers would know what it means to be a wolf. I don't think a lot of people know what that means anymore. Wolf means with the hounding the girls or the ladies or whatever. A wolf.
But it was like the contrast between those two acting styles, because Lon Chaney really committed, and then this guy just palming it off as a joke. It's like
He turned into a wolf.
That's
one of the guys. That's another line like that in there. Oh, there's another line in there. I can't think what the other one is. I know this movie one of my best movies. I know the best, obviously, and I can't think of what the other line. I thought it was another Chaney line later on.
It's not the "I saw what I saw" at the beginning.
No. It was, well, there's another one when he's in the hotel room earlier. So another wolf line when he trashed the hotel room because he was turned into a werewolf, and then he says something like, many years ago I was bitten by a wolf. Now when a full moon rises, I change into a wolf myself. And then he goes, "That's all right, pal. I'm kind of a wolf myself." And he goes, grabs a hold of him.
That's what I like. It's like the reaction. It's like Lon Chaney determined to be completely committed. It's like they're acting in two different films in a way.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things they say that's worked so well in that movie, is that they don't really ridicule the monsters too much in there. They play it straight for the most part. Well, there's a few moments, but basically the monsters are pretty straight themselves, and the comedy comes from Abbott and Costello, really.
Yeah, and the production values were as good as the ones before, the straight ones.
The look of the monster and the Glenn Strange in that is my favorite look for any of the Universal Frankensteins, believe it or not, in that particular movie. Bud Westmore makeup, I think it is. I just like the look of Frankenstein monster in that movie. I got to tell you,
I'm just glad they brought Bela Lugosi back for that.
Oh yeah, I'm glad too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's too bad, I mean, it's fine as is, but just for name's sake, if Karloff would have agreed to do it, just one more time.
Yeah.
But did you ever see there's photos of Karloff in the Frankenstein makeup that was supposed to, from scenes that were supposed to be used in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty? There's some on the set things of him in full Frankenstein makeup, just like the Jack Pierce makeup. I think 1946 or so, I think it is.
Did they take any footage? Shoot any footage of that?
I've never seen footage, but there's real. These days, you have to say real because everything's AI. But these days, I've seen it. It's a common photo of Karloff. I think I have a couple of them with him in the makeup, holding a cigarette, and it's a real thing. I'll try to find it and show it on here one day or something. But anyway, he thought the monster. He didn't want the monster made fun of, so he really didn't want to do it.
Right.
He had too much respect for the monster than to do this. But it's unfortunate because it would have worked out pretty good. But it worked out well enough. Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
and 4D Man. By the way, are you always called 4D Man, or do you use your first name, or what do you do?
Always, because this will be the year I decide whether I go back to lecture for a couple of years or whether I stay retired. If I stay retired next year, it won't matter. But if I'm going to go back lecturing, because of some of the stuff that's happened in the VC that's pretty bad, deep end stuff, I've kept a certain degree of anonymity for this length of time anyway. So I'll play it by ear for the rest of the year and see whether I go back to lecture.
Yeah, I'm just calling you 4D. So 4D, thank you for coming up here.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you,
Tim. As always, guys, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Tim.
Yeah, and you too. And lots of good comments. I thank all of you. Thank all of you for helping out. So, okay, everybody, talk to you next time.
Cheers,
thank
guys.
you.